Welcome to She Rises Up podcast with Gema and Lara. We are multi-award winning international coaches, authors and speakers specialized in women's empowerment and conscious leadership for women. Here we want to empower, uplift and elevate you with conscious conversations aimed to unify femininity, business and consciousness.
Welcome, ladies, to episode 19 of the podcast, She Who Rises Up. It's such a delight to have you back with all of us. Welcome to all our new listeners that, we maybe just stumbled across our podcast just recently. And welcome back to all the beautiful women who have been following our journey for the past 18 episodes. So it's such a joy to have you with us. And so we're back to being split in different countries. Gemma is in Spain. Gemma, how are you?
Hi, Lara. Hello, everybody. Hello, ladies. I am very, very well, very happy, and looking forward to autumn. I remember in one of the previous podcasts that Lara said that autumn is the season of change. So I wonder what this autumn is going to bring to all of us. So looking forward to that. Here in sunny Spain, I must say, it's very sunny, very lovely.
Yes, I'm back in London now, and yes, very interesting. We'll leave it there. So, shall we get started with what is that? What have you learned over the past couple of weeks since we recorded our last podcast?
Well, it's interesting. Last night when I was preparing for the podcast today, I was thinking, what have I learned in the last 2 weeks? And nothing came to mind. And I was thinking, every time I say, oh, it has been a very intense 2 weeks, blah, 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 and I struggle to find something to focus on. And yesterday I didn't have anything. And then I remembered something that happened over the weekend. We went for a walk near the beach and a forest, and we saw a very beautiful sunset with a castle in the background where the sun was actually setting in, and it was beautiful. And everybody was there. They just stopped whatever they were doing, the walks, the conversation. It was silent. It was like a sanctuary in this place overlooking the sunset. And then I took a picture, I put it on the Facebook. And the sentence I put in Facebook was something like, there's always time to stop and admire the beauty. So that's my experience for this week. I realized that's the experience because for those who have been following our podcasts, you probably know that I've been really busy the last few months putting the house for rent, getting ready our piece of land to live there, organizing a wedding, then organizing the second spiritual wedding. It has been a very, very busy period. And this last week, maybe even 2 weeks, has been quiet. Me and my husband have had more time to just be. And we have said it sometimes. It's like the beginning of a relationship where we spend lots of time just being and knowing each other. And it's been like that again. And it's been so beautiful just being. So we move from being in action most of the time to be in being and have little action. And sometimes it's needed to do that, especially when there is a transition in life from one stage to another, to stop and just be and see what flows into the next. And then things have started to flow again. New projects have started to be born, and then we will be ready to full action very soon. But yeah, my experience has been to stop, to smell the roses, to admire the experience of beauty in front of me, have more time to be, less into action and more being for autumn. So let's see what autumn brings. What about you, Larita? What has happened in your life?
Yeah, but you know, autumn is my favorite stage. Yeah, let's see what it brings. What has it been for me? I came back from Madrid. It's been a week now, and what is it that I have learned? Is it learning? Is it remembering? Is it really putting in practice to an elevated elevated way, which I'm still in it, I'm still in the middle of it, and that is the concept of softening. And I realized that with everything that I was dealing with in Spain, with my mom's dementia and everything else, is that that hardens the shit out of you sometimes, right? It makes you really hard, and in the name of strength, or in the name of protection, or in the name of whatever, you create walls around you. And what happens when you create walls? The energy doesn't flow as freely, right? It will get there eventually. It will get there, but it's way much stronger way much harder for the energy to flow. So, and I realized when I came to London, I asked myself the question, what do I need right now? Now, by the way, every time I come to London, there's always that transition. Sometimes it's more intense, sometimes it's less intense. This time it's more intense for me, where the adaptation is great. You've got all these feelings of guilt, and you've got all these feelings of, am I doing the right thing? And I asked myself, so what is it? What medicine do I really need right now? And the medicine that I decided that I need is to soften, to soften, and to soften into the feminine doesn't mean that you're going to become a doormat. It doesn't mean that you're going to be a couch potato, right? It's very much like muscle that has been tense. It's still going to work, but it's tense, right? So you need to release, you need to soften that muscle, and the muscle going to work to its best capability. So to soften into the feminine, it's the medicine that I'm applying to myself right now. So this is what has been a great reminder, and it's very much needed. Yeah. This is to soften.
How beautiful, how beautiful. And how does this softening feels like? What is it that you're actually doing to soften?
Well, literally, it's to soften is literally getting out of your mind. It's and going back into your body. What is it that your body needs right now, right? So apart from the physical things to soften the body, and taking care of your body, but it's about bringing, the way I've been doing it is bringing life and breath into after scanning my body, so I see where the blockage is, and then I'm sending breath and light into that, and also noticing, where have I been harsh in my thinking? And over the last few days before going to Spain, oh my gosh, it's like I even had some thoughts, and the way that I was reacting was like, this is so unlike me, so unlike me. So again, noticing that, I say, okay, so accepting for what situation, what it is, and yeah. It's not even forgiving, it's just accepting it is what it is. That's what happened. Okay, let it go now, rather than holding on to things.
How beautiful, how beautiful. And how useful that must be for our listeners, I'm sure.
Say that again.
How useful and how interesting that must be for our listeners to do that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that to soften is such a it's a beautiful medicine that's coming from the feminine, right? And especially
Totally.
Yeah, and especially when I remember when I was back in people, I was a people leader. I needed to soften so many times, consciously softening, because this masculine, this is things need to be done this way. Okay, so why? But why? Why?
Yeah.
Okay, and not in another way that's more fluid, where things flow more easily.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that when you most it's very much like, imagine that you moisturize in your skin, right? And it's a bit there, and you moisturize it, and then your hand glides much easier, right? So this is what we're doing here. So things flow more easily when you are in that softening. Now, you softened, I know that there is some work there that I'm doing. So yeah. So I'm in the middle of it. So report back, hopefully in the next time, either through social media or next time we meet again.
How beautiful. What comes to mind is the harmony between the masculine and feminine. It's just not being fully in the feminine doesn't mean to let go of the masculine. It just mean bring balance, I guess, right? So that, the feminine has been a bit out of balance. So let's focus on the feminine to balance it out.
Yeah. And again, it doesn't mean that you're going to become a doormat when you soften.
Exactly.
In fact, if anything, it's you are going to be more productive, or
Exactly.
but in a higher state of flow and alignment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's using your masculine as well, because by focusing your energy in your body, like you were saying, that's your masculine. The focus energy is masculine. So you're using the masculine to enhance the feminine. They work together. So that's so beautiful.
Yeah. So let's move on now to our card. And the card that we picked for you ladies, it's a beautiful card. And the word says, my inner compass knows the way. My inner compass knows the way. And there is a compass, beautiful beige colors, surrounded by flowers and different plants. So, and we have a little anecdote with you, no, Gemma, when it comes to the compass.
Yeah. I guess you're referring to what happened this morning. I was on my way to the office. I'm using an office that a beautiful friend of ours have kindly allowed me to use while we sort out the Wi-Fi in our house. And in our way here, yesterday, Lara sent me the card for today, and the card was this beautiful thing with a compass, like she explained. And right in front of us in the car, there was a van with the exact compass in the same direction. So it was just, okay, I'm going in the right direction, following this van to my office to do the podcast today. So that was beautiful. That was beautiful to see. It's a universe joking.
It is a confirmation, right? And I did double check, I always double check. See, is this the right card that we need to focus on, not only ourselves, but the whole point of this is that this card is going to be a focus, if you open to it from this perspective, a focus for the next couple of weeks. So what do you want to share? What thoughts came? Yeah.
Well, I think what we've been talking up to now with the experiences of me and Lara for the past week is very much in line with this card, because Lara has been explaining how she is now focusing on the feminine, bringing the softening and focusing on the body. She's following the inner compass to know what she needs to do. The same with my experience, where we just stopped. And for a while, and we naturally became less into action and more into being for the past 2 weeks. And that's following the inner compass. Is not only listening to your body, to your intuition, but mainly using or listening and feeling the callings of your heart, which is the door to your soul. And the example I have for that is, and I've probably used it before, but it's so obvious and so powerful. When we decided to move into the country, it used to bring a lot of joy when we used to speak about it. Every time at the time we had other options to go to a friend's house or to do something different, and yeah, it was nice. But when we spoke about going into the country, we felt joy. I particularly felt an expansion in the heart area and joy, pure joy. And that's what we had to follow. And I used to say to my husband, I don't know why, but I know I have to be there with you. For worse, for better or for worse, I don't know what's coming, but I have to be there. Whatever the experience is, that's what my soul wants me to experience. I didn't know what was going to happen, because we moved into the country without water, without electricity, living in really tough conditions. And it could be really strenuous for the relationship. I was aware of that. But I had to have the courage to do whatever my soul wanted me to do and follow that inner compass. That was the joy, the expansion of the heart. And at the same time, we were peaceful. We were very peaceful with the idea. And of course, we were being loved. So that's, for me, that's what the inner compass is. So let the joy be the compass, peace be the state you're in, and love be the essence. And those are the key to manifestation, because you are following what your soul wants you to be and do. And who else wants you the best for you than your soul? So that's what the card brought for me.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And when I was getting to the energy of this card, and I'm thinking, what is an inner compass? What does it mean, right? An inner compass is this deep trust and faith that I have with myself, that I know what is best for me. Yes, I do respect. Yeah, I do listen to what you have to say, but I trust me so much that I know what is best for me, right? And of course, is very much linked to intuition, and again, that inner knowing is not something that I start with the I think we are engaging thoughts, the I believe I'm engaging belief systems, and belief systems might not be even yours, right? The belief system is something that you have also inherited, most probably, if not all the time. But the I know, don't ask me how I know, but I know. Right? And and it feels like, although we have spoken about intuition in previous podcasts, but it feels as if this is a great reminder to say, hey, let's bring our attention back to this. And especially with, because intuition, what is it? Is the language of source, is the language of the divine speaking through you. And as we are evolving so much, and with the huge, massive awakening and shift in consciousness that has happened over the last, especially in 19 months, and I also include myself in this huge awakening that has happened, is that we need as many tools as possible to not only come online, but to support us in that transition, in the sustainability, as we are evolving in this new and continue to awaken. And this is one of the great tools that we have, which is our intuition, for both men and women. But since, obviously our podcast is for the feminine, for women, so we, it's so we're focusing there as well, right? Intuition, super, super important. A great reminder that, how do I know my inner compass? I'm going to follow my joy. I am going to follow that intuition that tells me what's right for me. And of course, this comes with consequences, right? It comes with consequences, because imagine that you start going for what you want and doing what you know is best for you. You're going to become a threat to society. You're going to become a threat, especially in a society where you're not supposed to follow what you know is best for you, but what is best for the agendas, right? So and what I was thinking as well, as I was getting into the energy of the card, is, how do I know that my inner compass is coming from me and is not coming from a place of what is not coming from others? Right? Because when we learn and when we know about how not only the brain works, but how manipulation works, and how the states of hypnosis work, sometimes we might be, confused. Is this really coming from me, or is it coming to me through others? Right? So then we need to really be very mindful as to ask ourselves that question. Is this really, is it conscious inner compass following, or is it something that I have, is somebody else's compass that I'm supposed to put it, I'm supposed to bring it to life.
I love it. I love all what you shared. I made a note of the words trust and faith, because my teacher Isis Livingston was something that she used to teach. Follow your soul without hesitation, with unshakable trust and unstoppable faith, and that's so key. Because, like I said, your soul knows more than anyone, more than anything, what's best for you. And of course, it comes with consequences. Well, moving into the countryside, we had lots of fun, lots of things happen, and some of those things were some crises that we went through, even with the idea even to cancel the wedding at some point. But those crises were so necessary, and now we bless them, because just before the wedding we became the people that we needed to be before we got married. And that was possible because of the environment we were in, and because we followed our soul without hesitation. That is truly key. And I hope people listen to this podcast a few times, because we're giving really true information, which is the basis of living, really, just following the soul without hesitation.
Well, and this is a very good point, right? Because when I am when I'm following my inner compass, following my inner compass is going to take me to my North Star, right? And my North Star is different to your North Star. And so it's basically, I am honoring my soul plan when I am following my inner compass, right? So what was yes, and so another thought that was coming to mind as I was listening to you, and that is to be mindful when that inner compass again is coming from the highest space, is coming from a place of resonance, of alignment, of intuition, rather than from the ego, right? So it's to be mindful of that too.
Yeah, that.
So I have a question then, and maybe it's a question for both of us. Do you recall the time where you did follow your North Star, you did follow your inner compass, and when you didn't follow your inner compass?
Yes, I do. I don't think if I can remember examples right now, but I, of course, made the mistake of thinking that it was my intuition what I was following, and it wasn't. It was my ego. It was what I wanted to do rather than, and that happened many times. And that's what happened to a child when he's learning to walk. The child falls and falls and gets up and keep trying again and again. And then the teaching or the lesson is to learn to walk. My lesson after so many fails was to realize how the voice of the heart of the soul sounds like or feels like, and how the voice of the ego feels like. So it's a learning process. And I realized that the voice of the soul is really soft. It's not pushy. It will tell you something. It's the first thing that you hear, that you feel, and then it goes away, and then the ego comes in with questions, with buts, with oh yeah, this can be really good, blah blah blah. But the first yearning, the first calling, that's it, and it's very soft. It's not pushy. It might repeat itself, but later on, it lets the ego come in. So you have to go back to the origin. What was the first intuition, the first feeling, the first thought, the first image, whatever it is for you? For me, it's a feeling, and it's a very, very soft voice, very, very soft voice. I guess it's a process to learn how the voice of your soul feels like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember when I follow my inner compass, it was in my last job. Yes, in my last job. Last job when I was a people leader, and my position was going to be put at risk. We know these things, right? We get little, information that would tell you what things are about to happen, and I knew that was going to happen before it had happened. And in the same time, I was offered this amazing position, what seemed like a huge, massive promotion, where I finally will become a global girl, right? Back in the days in corporate. And I remember going to the interview with, the top person, and it was not in the normal setting of how an interview in my world had looked like. And the kind of questions, it was in a hotel over a drink, and the kind of questions I was asked were very much like, again, anti everything that I had learned of how a recruitment process should look like, Anyway, so I was like so excited. Oh my God, I've made it global, and I've got this global role, la 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 la. Anyways, when I went to look at the formalities and speak who would be my then director, I remember halfway through the conversation, I had this very, very, very strong push. It was like way much stronger than an intuition. It was like a force that spoke through me to say, no, this is not the right job for me, right? And I remember people telling me, are you crazy, Lara? It's either this or your job is going to be put at risk, right? So you're gonna have no job. How are you gonna pay your mortgage? And all these things, that people worry about, and I worry about too, but it's not to the extent that would paralyzes me. And but that was that. It's like halfway through that conversation, who would be my director? I was like, no, I'm sorry, this is not the right thing for me. And don't ask me why, don't ask me how. It was like completely insane, that decision that I had made right on the spot. And even it disarmed her. with that decision. Anyways, yes, my position was put at risk. Yes, I lost that job 3 weeks later. But then, magic things started to unfolding because I had followed that. So that was a very strong idea or example of how I followed my inner compass. And on the other side, when I started my new life, doing what I do right now, oh my God, and you know that, Gemma, very well, is like, how many times have we followed people who looked the part, sounded the part, but oh my God, they were so much louder. I'm thinking about this organization. Is supposed to be a women's empowerment organization. I don't know if I should mention the name or not. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, should I mention? Should I not? Anyways, we leave it as it is now. You know who I'm referring.
Look in our Facebook history, you'll see.
Exactly. But the point is, again, there were great lessons. Right? And there were great teachers but that was a precise moment where, I didn't follow my inner compass. I believed I was following other people's compasses rather than following my inner compass. And I paid the price. So literally we got scammed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a clear example of not following your
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't make sense, right? Because here's something that when you follow your inner compass and you follow your intuition, you might even get some resistance from others, right? Who might not believe, who might trigger, they might not understand what you're doing because they might not understand why you're following your inner compass when they want you to follow their inner compass, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. That's a really good point, because if we don't follow our inner compass, we are following someone else's. That's it. And sometimes the ego or the fear following someone else's compass rather than your own.
Yeah.
Mm.
So how can we do that? And let's get into some hows to support the ladies.
Yeah. Well, I think that the main thing is to start living from the heart. It's just what the leaders of the future will do. That's what I see. In order to survive in this world, in this changeable environment that we are right now, we have to start leading from the heart. And it's not leading in a corporate environment, because sometimes leadership comes as some sort of position in a corporate, and it's not like that. It is being an inspiration. Leading is being inspiration, and inspiration comes from the heart. So that's the main thing. And to go into the heart is just so easy. It's just so easy. It's as easy as stop to smell the roses. Focus your energy into your heart, maybe closing the eyes so that you really focus into your heart. Even putting the hands into the heart so that the focus really is there. And just taking 3 deep breaths into the heart. It's just as easy as that. 30 seconds to do that, even less, and you're back into your essence. That's it. It's as simple as that. And the more you do it, the more you become it, and the easier it is to just live into the heart and focus onto those softening energies that Lara was talking about earlier, focusing onto the beauty and using the mental energy, which is so beautiful as well, to help the heart, not the other way around. I think that's the way, and it takes practice. That's all it is.
Yeah. And from my perspective, how can we follow our inner compass? Okay, the first thing that's coming to my mind is very interesting that we were talking about softening earlier on. And I think this is a great way of knowing what your inner compass is. When you soften and when you create that space for yourself, call it a sacred space, call it, a space where you're tapping into the highest possible timeline and choice that you had that you could make at that moment of time. So what is my highest choice at that moment of time? That will lead me to that, and will help me to lead me to that place. And you know what? I say that heal yourself, ladies, heal yourself. Healing yourself is one of the most radical things that you could do for yourself these days, especially because in a system that doesn't like people to be healed, when they are literally playing and tapping into our unhealed wounds and traumas, where you might get shamed, you might get gaslighted into subordination and into compliance and into all these things, that's been there. It's nothing new, right? We are part of that system. So heal yourself. This is one of the most important things that you could do. So far, hire somebody, work with a healer, read the books, listen to the podcast, get yourself a coach, somebody who you are aligned with, to help you bring light and into that situation. So I know that when I am following my inner compass, I know it, regardless if it doesn't make sense. I know what's right for me, and that comes with practice, especially when we're not used to being ourselves, right? We're so used to being who others want us to be and doing what other people want us to do. So this is super important. And I'd say 2 questions here, to question. I love to question. Look, as coaches, we question the fuck out of everything, right? Questioning. Is that right? I mean,
we do.
That is one of the tools that we use in our jobs, right? We question, so people can get insights. And when you question others, you question yourself. And when you question yourself, you question everything, right? So question, and again, if I ask myself weak questions, I'm going to get weak answers. So let me ask myself super powerful questions and be ready for the answers, because I'm going to get a very powerful answer if I ask myself that super powerful question. Yeah, that's it.
Indeed. I love that. So it's getting into a practice of questioning, where is this voice coming in? Is it coming from the heart? Is it coming from my ego? And learning to differentiate, right?
Yes. Okay, so our time is up, I believe. Yes, our time is up, ladies. We hope you enjoyed this podcast today, the show. Please do reach out if you have any questions, or if you want to share anything with us, what you liked about the podcast, any suggestions, and also share it with other women, so they can have access to this to this wisdom that we've shared with you today.
Indeed. I think the information of the wisdom we shared today is gold. And I hope you share it so other women can benefit from that too.
And we shall see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's all for today, ladies. Thank you so much for joining our conversation, and we truly hope you loved it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to our podcast and also share it with other fabulous ladies so they could benefit from it too. If you want to get in touch, you could find us on all major social media platforms. Speak to you very soon.